Hi, and welcome to another episode. On today's episode, shall we discuss how do you learn stuff? The main problem is, from what I can say, and obviously experience, is that people quite often stop learning when they leave the school. And since they are only used to the model where there's somebody who tells them something or shows them something, i.e. teaches it, people do not know how to acquire the knowledge themselves. One way I found that you could do so is by splurging cash. Here's an example of me not knowing something, and so far I don't know what to do with it. Here is a big donkey machine, and several days ago I needed to print something. Not to print something, to scan something in. Now this machine comes with quite a scanner. Now obviously me running a printing business and being an IT engineer and so on and so forth, this would be an easy peasy thing to do for me, innit? Now I've spent 15 minutes touching all of the buttons that I could, and my best result was the scans go in. You don't on the machines of this scale, you don't put them manually in. But the scans go in, they come out, the machine says everything's all right. The problem is, I have zero idea where the scans go to. Now, there is an access to internal hard drive here, which the files do not show up in. Now, there are some USB ports here. The pen drive doesn't show up anywhere in the machine selection. And this being this grade of machine, it can email you the scans, which I thought I did set up. But here we are a few days later with no signs of such an email coming through. Here is a typical situation where a person would encounter such an issue, and all they would do is think of themselves in a not very positive way, let's say, let's put it that way. And obviously without any help, well, who are you gonna call? Them or something? Most people will give up. It doesn't necessarily have to be with technology. There are many things that people struggle with, using power tools, for example, using a petrol hedge trimmer instead of just your cutters or something. And people just give up. They do not know how to do it, so they'll just abandon the whole thing altogether. Obviously, this will lead you next to nowhere, obviously, besides being further down the chain, I'm afraid. So, what is my take on it? Here is a piece of technology that I know nothing about. Well, I mean, in practice, that is. I've heard of, if this is a unknown beast completely to you, this is a CO2 laser, as cheap as they get. The one that actually cuts something. So this is your typical K40 CO2 laser. It has a power apparently of 40 watts and so on. But the main thing is, it's not what it actually is, but what it represents. Now, do I know anybody who works with lasers or laser cutting or laser engraving? No. Have I been taught this in school? No. Can I find somebody and ask them? Yes, but that'll take some time. But what I can do is I can open the wallet and I can buy a machine like this and learn everything I need to know by simply using it. There are a few things to note. You would really want to minimize any risk as any other person, presumably. So you would at least do some Google searches or YouTube videos for that matter. Because, for example, in this case, The machine comes with quite a few things, but main of them being is that you need to cool the laser tube that's inside the machine. That can be a common knowledge, can be not, but it doesn't come with a reservoir that you use to fill in with, as per manual, with water. You order some things additionally to that, so a reservoir. Now, if you follow the guidelines of the manual, which as we know are roughly translated at best, then you are running into issue where you can damage the laser in this case. So this is why we go back to school with the chemistry, and we remember the class when they taught you about the deionized water, or also a distilled water. So I went with the second option, the distilled water, and that will make sure that the insides of the tube will stay not only cool, but also will have a long-lasting effect on the coolant. Now, with that being said, this can or cannot or can be not a common knowledge. Obviously, it needs a coolant to just pour something in, but that would avoid me of actually replacing the tube. Or so the next thing is I have to somehow operate the thing. In my case, it does come with some software, 2 types of it even, I think. I'll be figuring it out how to use that, and we'll see. Apologies. We'll see how I'm progressing with that, with having absolutely no experience. But one thing I can say for sure, you basically, if you want to learn something, just buy the thing, because obviously this is as close to the bare bones minimum what I need to do. I want to cut acrylic sheets, so this is as minimal investment as I can make in order to experience the whole thing firsthand. Obviously the next one up, the 50 or 60 watt laser, is roughly around 2 grand, whereas this is around 300 to 400 depending on where you are, obviously, and I'm speaking in Great British pounds. Are they called or not? Anyway, I'll wait till all of the other things are delivered so I can actually power this thing up, because so far I was only able to set it up. But once I can get this machine operating, I'll let you know how I get. I'll let you know how I either fail or succeed in using the machine, and you can follow and learn by me splurging cash, and potentially I might even destroy this on the first ever try I do, so you never know unless you try. I've got the laser, I've got the pump, I've got acrylic panels, I've got the machine, I've got a bucket that arrived just a few moments ago. I chose to go with a covered, obviously, so there is less contamination over time and so on, covered bucket. But the distilled water that I ordered was supposed to arrive on 14th, today's 16th, so 2 days late, and the tracking says that they haven't even received the parcel. So, because I'm obviously impatient to play with a new toy, I don't even know whether it works or not, whether the tube has been damaged in transit or not. So I've got a deionized water for a different purpose, but I really wanted distilled water, but I guess I'll have to go with it's just the ionized. So I have to prep a few things. For example, the pump will have to have access to the tubes that go into the lasers, so I'll need to drill a few holes for an inlet and the way back, the 2 tubes that will run through the lid. Let me do that and I'll see you in a second. water's connected. Now, I'm not sure if I will be actually firing the laser, but what I know I need to do is I need to power it on to see if the water will be flowing through the tube and not inside the outer tube. So proceed with me, and in order not to open the lid where the laser is, I'll be just looking at the temperature, because it says here temperature LCD display power, what all that means, and temperature LCD display water. So hopefully when I switch this on and I power this on, oh yeah, I can hear the water pump going, and the laser went that way. It's quite warm in here. But as you can see, the temperatures of the water, I hope that's what I have to look at, but I can see this specific laser has a red dot. It's an additional small laser that goes there, and it shows you the thing. I also have a LED strip, that's nice. Now, if we leave this, I mean, I can hear the water running, and I presume that I would want all of the things bubble free. So let me switch this off. Actually, there's a 09 whatever. I'll switch this off and we will have a look at the actual laser tube. Let's press that as well. So it looks like the tube itself has the liquid inside, and it doesn't look like the liquid where it's not supposed to be. Okay, let's run it for a while then and see if it will actually become bubble free. I'm preparing to test fire the laser. So okay, I've placed a material into the supposedly workable area, and I'm like, okay, let's there's a laser test button. You power the laser on, you press the test button, you will make a dot. How do I move it though? These are all of the power adjustments: laser on, laser off, sorry, laser on off, laser test, on off, emergency stop, displays, that's it. I can't move the laser without the machine. Okay, I guess I'll have to do that first. I've installed the software and I managed to even make a couple of holes within the material that seem to go all the way through. But as I'm only using the very basic K40 whisperer, I'm only able to either move the laser or I have to give it a file for it to cut. So let me quickly assemble that and I'll see you in a second. Designer, yeah, I need a file. I've loaded up the graphics file into the software and I've roughly aligned it where I think it will gonna work best. So I'm not sure how to actually do it, but I found files, send or save, and then vector cut. Hopefully this is what I'm looking at, but there's one more thing to know. Do not forget that this will be burning things, so you will need an extraction. Mine will need to be extended, but let's see how this goes. whole 3 attempts later, and we're getting somewhere. I mean, the cutting was the thing I wanted for, so let's play some more. An hour or so down the line, maybe 1.5, but there's the result, or rather that. Now, while I'll leave you guessing what it is, I'll also finish the episode here, because for the most part, in the beginning of this episode, I knew nothing of this device or the manufacturing of this type, whereas now I'm able to fully, well, not fully, maybe still maybe need some training, but I'm fairly confident that I'll be able to create whatever the shapes I want to, and I also know that this material works with this laser, as well as I've confirmed the overall that the laser works. Now, what if I would want to learn that, not by not spending money? Tough luck, I guess. I'm not sure how much time and effort I will have to spend in order to find somewhere to practice this. Whereas here, all I need to do is obviously get some acrylic panels and just Bob's your uncle. Do whatever you want. And the more you do it, the better you'll become at it. And that's pretty much how you learn everything, unless it's a rocket science. Although some people in the world could question that as well, but definitely don't do nuclear science with this. Yeah. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the episode, and I'll see you in the next one.